Hey friends, it's Life Coach Rich. Just coming to you today talking about socialism. A lot of people say socialism's great and capitalism is bad. You hear a lot of people say capitalism's bad, capitalism's bad, capitalism's bad. Nick Freitas here in this video, then he basically describes a feedback loop related to supply and demand, and that's what helps an economy work. He's not talking about socialism as far as ethical concerns or anything like that. He's just talking about in this video how socialism couldn't work. A free market is better. Why? He explains why. And I thought that this was really good to just understand the economic side of what's happening in capitalism compared to the economic side of what's happening in socialism.
Why can socialism never work? And when I say never work, I mean it's pretty much impossible. But first, let's define our terms. Socialism is a socioeconomic system where the means of production are collectively owned and controlled by a community or the state. This means that resources, factories, and machinery are all owned in common, and decisions about their use are made democratically. At least that's how it's advertised. Now, that might sound good in theory, right?
That does sound good in theory. You think that the community, that a lot of people are going to be able to make the decision, and that's just not that. This is just a thing that I want to throw in here. It's not the way it works because the people in power are going to naturally like that power, and power leads to corruption. We're not humanistic like some people want to think, that we're just naturally good and we're just going to do the good for all of these people. No, the Bible talks about that we're inherently flawed in the sense that we have rebellion within our hearts and we want to rebel against authority. And so when we have the ability to grab power for ourselves, we hold on to it and we like that power, and actually it will lead to corruption and greed and envy. So that's just a little tidbit that I want to throw in there to add to that.
I mean, even some conservatives say so. But socialism doesn't just fail in practice, it actually fails in theory too, and here's why. Socialists believe that by seizing the means of production from those who own it and putting them in the hands of the people, we bring about a leveling effect, eliminating exploitation, tearing down artificial hierarchies, and achieving greater social equality. But here's the problem. Without private property rights, the goods that go into the means of production can't be openly traded since they're all owned collectively by the people. And without trading, there are no actual market prices for these goods. Now, some may be asking, well, wait a second, can't the government just establish prices? Sure. In fact, many governments have done just that, but those aren't market prices. And that's actually really important. You see, prices in a free market system reflect how abundant or scarce a particular good or service is in relation to the demand. This reflection helps inform people about how to use their resources most efficiently. Business owners that make mistakes on the goods or services they purchase or produce can be instantly punished by customers. This system of profit and loss creates powerful incentives that lead to a more efficient distribution of resources over time. What's more, you get to help determine that system based on how you choose to spend your own time and your own money. If you buy one good instead of another, you're actually signaling to the marketplace that it needs to provide more of that thing you just purchased. But under socialism, the central planner lacks this basic feedback because there are no real prices since it's all owned by the collective.
Please do me a favor and hit the like button, subscribe, and notifications. And then also after you're done, please share the video with a friend. That really helps the channel grow. Thank you so much, and let's continue.
This is why countries like the Soviet Union, Venezuela, and North Korea have all experienced catastrophic shortages of everything from oil to toilet paper, because central planners were allocating resources not based off of consumer demand, but government edicts. And this phenomenon is known as the economic calculation problem. It's a challenge that no socialist philosopher, political party, regime, or economist has ever been able to solve. Not because they haven't tried, but because it's just not workable. And this problem doesn't even get into the ethical questions about socialism. Because in a system with property rights, who gets to use a resource is determined through ownership. But if the means of production are all owned by the collective, or probably the government, then what happens if two people want to use a resource for different things? Well, there's only one way to solve the dispute: by forcing one person to bow to the demand of another. So, how do you get in a position to make sure that you get what you want? Historically, in a society where the economy is run by the government, whoever has the most pull with the government wins. And that's exactly how socialist economies have played out all throughout history.
Well, there you go. I think that's really good. He was explaining that related to that supply and demand and how that kind of stuff works. And I really like that. In socialism, it would be the government trying to do everything and manage everything. It'd be an absolute managing nightmare. Couldn't do it. But in a free market, the management of the supply and demand is outsourced to the people that have bought the products. So, for example, retail stores or grocery stores, that kind of stuff, when they're running low on this particular thing because they have been purchased more so than another particular thing. Let's say one particular brand of potato chips is outselling another particular brand of potato chips. Well, then they send a request to the distributor. I need more of this. I need more of this to put on the shelf because that thing is selling. This particular thing, because it's selling, I'm going to give it more room on the shelf. I need more of these because this is really selling good here. I have to have more of this thing and this brand of this thing. And so you automatically outsource that inventory nightmare kind of to the grocery stores and shops and retail places and all of that, because that's how it works in the free market. Um, and it's how it doesn't work in socialism, because you don't have the free market. You're trying to have people guessing what the amounts are that are needed, and you're just never ever going to get that right. Uh, Besides the fact that you're going to have the people that he said, one person wants to use a resource this way and another person wants to use it a different way. Who wins? Well, it's just going to be whoever has most influence and pull with the government. So then you start getting into favoritism, and that kind of favoritism is never going to be good for other people. It's just going to the people that have the power and control are going to continue to make the decisions for the benefit, really, of their own ability to stay in power. And then if you like them, if you're really, kind of kissing their behind, and then you might get to be in power as well, and get some of that power, or at least money, and then it just leads to favoritism and greed, which is never good for everybody. And so it's just flawed related to how all of that's the outworking of it, uh, let alone the how it's going to work morally. But this is just a great explanation related to the economic thinking of how things work. But that's what I have for you this time. Thanks for watching. This is Life Coach Rich. Please share, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.